Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Make It Happen. Today we have Melissa Swader, and we will be talking about Rock Your Blog. A special welcome to everybody in the EPICS program who's joining us, in the Pre-Seed program who is also joining us. We'll have about 30 to 40 participants in today's call. So just giving you some logistics. Melissa has a presentation and she's going to be talking obviously about Rock Your Blog. If you have questions, Melissa has invited you to participate so that you don't forget your question as you're going. So any questions that you have, we'd invite you to put into the Zoom group chat, or you are more than welcome to raise your hand or to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the participants, and we can call on you as well. So as Melissa's talking, if questions come up, please feel free to engage throughout. I just also want to give you all a heads up that I will be posting some things in the Zoom group chat. Melissa is a very, very active participant in social media. She is a social influencer. She has got blog posts. She's got her own website. She's got her own YouTube channel. She has her own magazine that I hope we'll hear about today that went out yesterday. So there is a lot of information, and as we're going through, we'll be trying to upload those links so that you can take a look after this presentation as well. The last thing I'll say before I hand it over to Melissa is if any questions do not get answered, we are going to try our best to answer everything we can. If they do not, I will also put my my work email, and please email me directly and we can coordinate with Melissa to get questions answered afterwards. We want to make sure that everybody's questions are answered. Otherwise, Melissa, we will hand it over to you.
Yes, well, thank you guys so much for joining in. I was really excited to hear how many signed up today. I'm just going to talk a little bit before I actually share my screen, that just to give you a little introduction. I thank Jared for the small things about what I really do, and then I look at and I hear somebody else talking about myself and I think, gosh, when do I sleep? There's a lot of things that I'm involved with here in the Valley, and you know, locally and nationally recognized press writer and blogger all across the country on a variety of different topics, from real estate to business blogging to marketing trends. What the most important thing is, and like Jared said, you can go see me at go check me out at my website melissaswader.com to learn more about me as we go through this. And I'll just start by saying, the reason why you guys are all here, and I'm sure all for the same reasons why people want to blog, it is really about establishing who you are and who you represent and the kind of topics that you want to share with your readers. And that's the most important thing. So if you have that clarity in mind, and you are a visionary, and you can't wait to share your work and your opinions and your insights to topics that excite you, or events that you've been to, there's all sorts of things that we can talk about, and we'll kind of go over a little bit at a time. But as I mentioned to Jared, if you have any questions even through the presentation, please feel free to comment in the chats and we can go over it. If I don't know the answer, it's a very possibility, I will definitely find the answer for you, and I can let Jared know if he's can have a way of reaching back out to you and providing you that information as well. So all right, so I will go ahead and, what do I do now? Sorry, because this is the first time I've ever done this. So I share the screen?
Yeah, if you click the green button in the middle, share screen,
okay.
It'll bring up and it'll allow you to choose which screen you would like to share.
Okay.
As you are doing that, I would be remiss, you can see over my shoulder a Canadian flag. Today is Canada Day. So a big shout out of Happy Canada Day and Happy Independence Day coming up to everybody.
Nice. J'atelier le français pas d'autre chose.
Oh my word, you're going to make me look terrible. The Canadian who can't speak very good French. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, so share screen. Okay, share. Yep. Okay. I'm sharing.
There you
How
are.
do I?
So we can see the the Zoom screen.
I want to, okay, how do I get, let's close out this. There we go. Okay.
There you go. There we
All
go.
right. I did it.
Yes.
There's a will, there's a way, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. I had to pick the picture that was on my website because I try to stay young, like all of you college students and professors out there who are in the best shape of their lives. But I have been in this business, in the industry for over 20 years, and I said this before. If it wasn't for ASU, where I, obtained my bachelor's degree in fine arts, this would have never happened for me, as I had my business license before I had my bachelor's degree. And I started doing this, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, and I have never stopped. So if you are really passionate about whatever you're doing in school, or if you've just recently graduated and you're looking to enter into the corporate, world, or start your own business, this is a really great way to brand your name and get your information out there for all the world to see. So I can, just tell you that I do own a magazine. Elevate Magazine is something that I created a couple of years ago. It's an online digital magazine that features businesses. I've worked with the city of Tempe. We had Instagrammies, earlier this year on social media. If there's a way to incorporate somehow marketing and cross promotion and branding, I will be 100% behind anything like that, because this is what I do. And the magazine came out today, actually, at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm really excited about this feature. We have some ASU features in there as well, so that's really exciting. And I own a full service marketing company called Ruby Red Media that specializes in, market full comprehensive design work and marketing packages and whatnot. So I have been doing this a long time. So I hope that some of my, tips and tricks here can help guide you, or at least give you some guidance on what I've been doing or what you guys can be doing for yourselves. So let's go. So the one question that I would say to everybody is, why you should blog. When we break out of this screen share, I'll definitely, talk to you a little bit more so I can see your chats. I don't know, can I see their chats on the sidebar here, Karen?
Yeah, they're chats.
Yeah, like, can I see it while I'm sharing, or no, I have to wait until the...
You can if you're out of full screen, and then if you click the chat, then it stays up on the side. And I'm also watching the chat as well, so I can tell you if anybody posts a chat.
Perfect. Okay, so let's just kind of break these down a little bit. And I don't have a lot of slides because really it's just about talking, because that's what blogging is. It's about talking about what you want to write about. First of all, blogging does build your brand. And I will get a hand, I will ask everybody to raise their hand and let me know if they have already started blogging or not, because that's really important to know whether or not you guys are already blogging. The other thing is, when we're talking about building your brand, which was, something that I had talked about earlier last month, I believe, and it's about, becoming a young entrepreneur and building your brand. But what is your favorite thing, like, that you want to talk about? Is it that you're coming from a personal perspective? Are you talking about a nonprofit organization? What is the content that you're actually going to write about? Because blogging is just not, and I want to make sure everybody's very clear on this, blogging is just not about, writing out something. There has to be an objective on the reason why you're writing a blog, because you are building your brand. And people are going to start recognizing your work, and you want to make sure that that stays true to who you are and what represents. And we'll go a little bit into this a little bit more as we go through this. And, statistically proven, this is going to help your cause, whatever it is. So I do have 4 websites actually, and that's not even including the real estate side of things. I told you I'm very busy. And I write about different things, but it's because I'm involved. You know, I'm also, you know, a media affiliation. I'm a Valley, press writer. My work is published in a lot of the magazines out here. Arizona Central. I've been published thousands of times all across the country. I couldn't even begin to know where some of my work is, but that's a good, that's a good problem to have. And that means that, I'm building a brand through my name and by my readership. And when you have readership, more opportunities will open up for you. So that's really important too, to remember that whatever you're writing about, there has to be an end purpose. Who do you want reading your blogs? Are you collaborating with other people when you're writing your blogs? Because that channel, and number 3, that channel of communication of readership is going to be important, because you want to work with other people that might be included in your blogs, because you expand that readership, you expand that target audience when you collaborate with like-minded writers who have the same objectives, or maybe the similar objectives than you. And of course, blogging is about sharing insight. For example, today my magazine cover says real estate, the real estate issue, and at the bottom it says, insights from thought leaders all across the country. And this is really great, because you want to be able to write about thought leaders. You want to be able to write about the things that you gravitate to, but you're going to learn that you're going to have to do that research, and you're going to have to verify facts, because blogging still has to be truthful. It can be opinionated, but it still needs to be truthful. And that's how you gain the trust of your readership and your viewership. So, again, blogging is just not about writing. It's about what you do after your blog is done. So let's say, for example, I've posted it to one of my websites, or I posted it to, let's say, Blogger, which is free, right on your Gmail account. If I post that, how many times can I use that URL link on all the other social media platforms and share my blog? I want to be able to cross promote on many forums, and you can reiterate your blog. Say like something comes out in the news. You wrote about, I don't know, let's just say ASU, for example. You wrote something about ASU, and then all of a sudden that same topic came out like 3 months later, and you remembered, hey, I wrote a blog similar to this. That's when you're able to repurpose your blog, and you can use those URL links to start posting again. Hey, check out this blog that I wrote 3 months ago on so-and-so on this and this. It's amazing that I was talking about this 3 months ago, and here we are today, and it's still relative. You just repurposed a blog, an old blog, yet you made it current. So keep in mind when you're writing your blogs, how many platforms can you share your blogs to? Because that's going to really be the catalyst in how you're growing your following, how you're growing your readership, and how many people are connecting with you and you're making an impact with. So does anybody have any questions on this so far?
Melissa, we do have a couple. We don't have any. If anyone has questions, they're welcome to put it in the group chat or to come off mute and ask. But I will say that we have had students, and we do have students who are really interested in this blog space and in blogging and participating in blogging. But one of the challenges they have is they're often very nervous about engaging, because they don't want to, they're not sure if that's what they're going to blog on for the rest of their life. They're afraid that, oh, if I start blogging on this one topic and then I'm seen as this specialist and I want to change in the future. Do you have any feedback to students who want to participate but are a bit nervous?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Blogging is not about branding the topic of your blog. It's about branding you as a writer. You are the blogger. That's what blogging is. We're not talking, if I told you how many topics I wrote about, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I blogged about an ice cream sundae because it was good, because I enjoyed that chocolate fudge, because I've been craving something like that. But yesterday or the day before that, I was interviewing the mayor of Tempe. So it could be as simple as the chocolate fudge sundae, or I could be, blogging or writing or interviewing, top city officials or, celebrities the next day. You know, again, the brand that's behind your blog is that you are the blogger. When you walk up to somebody and you're talking and you say, yeah, what do you do? Well, I'm a blogger. I cover all topics. Remember in the beginning when I said, I'm a local and nationally recognized press writer and blogger, business blogger. I cover topics about business. I cover topics about marketing trends. I cover topics about real estate. It's not about the subject of your content, or it just has to be valuable content. So whatever you're writing about, it just needs to make sense to people, because all you're doing is connecting with your readers and they relate to what you're saying. So don't ever be worried about what you're saying. Just remember, whatever you put in writing, it will never go away from the internet. You can't get that back. So if you are writing, just make sure, and you're writing about something very specific, make sure you do your research, and, make sure that you, give credit to anything that you might be writing about. If I was inspired, for example, if you're blogging on just a random topic, and you're a little worried about maybe of that topic, it would be smart for you to reach out to maybe that person or the affiliation or something, and maybe even obtain a comment, see if they'd be willing to participate as a contributor to validate, your work. That's going to be really important for you, because you are trying to set not only a brand for yourself, but you have to be a credible resource too. The problem with the media today is that some people just say they're not credible. I have never printed, Jared, you're smiling. I have never, ever published a blog or a press statement or anything in my magazine if I have not verified the content first. There's something you just can't take back, and you can do a press correction. Say, like, for example, I issued a press statement. You can request a press correction, but people are very quick to, dump on those URL links and share that original content. So just be careful when you are writing that you verify that, because the first thing that you ever want to do is make sure that you are looked at as a reliable resource or a reliable blogger.
Thanks, Melissa. I will reiterate with a quick funny story I posted when I was a graduate student. I posted a blog on LinkedIn, and it was talking about a unique experience that my grandmother had in World War II. And I was using it as this experience, and I was talking about kind of team dynamics, and I'm still proud of the post. However, somebody reached out to me from Mayo Clinic 3 months ago and said, oh, it was a great story about your grandmother. And they started talking about my grandmother, and I had no idea who the person was and how they knew about my family. And I said, I'm sorry, have we met? And they said, no, I read your blog so it is there. So you've talked about the blogger platform, you've talked about an individual website, we've talked about LinkedIn. And then Hassan has asked, would it be more beneficial to have multiple blogs depending on the topic, or to share everything through one single blog?
Yeah, so, if you have a blog site, like you have a particular blog site, sam.blogspot.com, for example, I have many different topics on my blog site. It's just talking about real estate. And then over here, I have another blog and I'm just talking about, ice cream sundaes and foodies. I'd like to think of myself, if you're a writer, if you want to become a really well-known writer or blogger, then the way that they're going to connect with you is watching how you are so diverse in storytelling, and that you are out there and you are, dissecting all sorts of topics. Because the reason why people relate to me is because they've got to know me over the years. I use my hands a lot. Y'all know I use my hands a lot. It's the Italian and Irish. But as a writer, people who know me can actually hear what I'm saying because they have watched me. They have seen me talk in person or on my vlogs. Blogging and vlogging are very similar, because if I'm doing a vlog, a video blog, like we're talking about a particular subject, I might actually write a blog, a written version of that, talk about some of similar things. Maybe I include more value or more content than I did in the blog. And guess what I do? I cross promote. So I post that blog on a website, I talk about it, and then guess what I do? I said, for the video, check it out here. And I put my link, and guess what they're doing? Now they're watching your vlog, and they can see you talking and using your hands and cracking funny jokes and talking about ice cream sundaes and interviewing the mayor of Tempe. I would not know that if I wasn't being personable, because the best way people are going to relate to you is if you're personable, because that's how you're going to gain your readership and your following. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yes,
so
you said thank you. That really helped. That was great.
okay, great. Yeah, I would say be fearless. For anyone who's out there who's considering writing, definitely need to read my editorial in the magazine. It is, people who wait for the answers on things. Leaders are the ones that are part of those solutions. We are the ones that go out there and do that work. We're the ones who dive into that. We are fearless. We don't care what people think. Because if you believe in yourself and you're confident in yourself, guess what? You're going to be an amazing writer. You know why? Because you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to be truthful, and you're going to be critical of your own work. And being critical of your own work means that you are subconsciously aware of what content you're putting out there. And that's really important to know objectively who's going to be reading your content. What person can do that? But that leads me to my next slide, which is blogging doesn't create that engagement. People will start gravitating towards you when they find that you are funny, when they find that you are credible, when they love reading the random topics that you're writing about. You can even do like intro. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys all are writing at this point, but some people like to plan what they're writing about. And if you are planning your schedule, or you're planning your writing schedule, then you can even lead into it. At the end of one of your blogs, you can say, check back next Thursday for my blog on my trip to Hawaii. You're going to never believe what happened when I walked into that cave. But I'm not going to tell you now until you read my blog next week, so stay tuned. Because you're engaging them, and you're forcing them to go, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what happened in that cave in Hawaii, because I'm interested. And what happens when you start growing your following and you get more followers? Engagement creates opportunities, because other bloggers start seeing your work, and then they want you to be a contributor. So not only are you a blogger, you're a guest blogger. And this opens up more opportunities. For example, I put this image on there, the Rock Your Blog workshop. Should I be a blogger? And keep in mind, this is a workshop for people that are already established in their business. They're anywhere between 30 years old and 60 years old. And they said the same thing. I'm a little worried. I'm kind of scared about writing. That's why they deleted the delete button. I love the delete button. You guys will all love that delete button, trust me, because I do it all the time. But when you start creating the name behind your blog, other affiliations will start contacting you, and you'll start getting new followers. People will start calling you after 3 months and telling you, hey, I read your blog. On one of my websites, I actually saw a comment, in one of my press statements or blog sites, and they asked permission to republish my work. And when you get to that point, when people are asking to republish your work, you're golden. Keep writing, just keep blogging, don't stop. And make it a point to, if people ask me what I'm inspired by, I could be sitting at a Starbucks on a patio and I'm watching a mother and daughter just talk to each other, and you see such a moment that you realize, like, that's such a sweet thing to talk about, and that might be your inspiration. I'm inspired by all the things that are around me, and that's why blogging is so important, is because you are inspired by what you see, what you experience, and that's really important. So, and this, I probably just said this, is, one short blog can change your entire day, but it can also motivate and teach your readers. And this is really important because I can write a quick blog. Blogs can be about 3 paragraphs, or blogs can be 6 paragraphs, depending on how much time you want to put into it. But if there's something that's weighing on me and I want to express it and I want to give my full attention to that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share that. And I can leave and go on my day, but I may have helped somebody with just the simple things that I might have said, or maybe I included a couple links that may have helped somebody. There's a really great library in downtown Phoenix. You guys didn't even know it was there, but trust me, it has all these articles and these archives that you would never believe. And okay, not really, that was hypothetical, but I'm just saying, if I type something in there, somebody might go, hey, I want to go check that out. So you are going to be very resourceful when you continue to write to people, for people who are reading it. So I'm sure you guys, how many, can you see the screen as how many people are actually writing? How many people have a blog right now?
So for participants, you can give a thumbs up,
Yeah.
or a yes button under the reactions. We
Okay.
have a no. It does not look like we have many people currently writing. We have 1 yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oops. Well, I don't know
Couple
what
of
that is.
no's.
What did I just do? Look out of there. Okay, so
it looks like we've got from what we see, the majority are still thinking about it.
okay, well, I hope that I'm going to influence you to do it, because if we have 35 people, or say 25 people on this, and I learn that 25 of you go out and start your blog next week, then I will have done what I needed to do today. Because blogging for you is only going to expand not only just your mind, because you can write, just get on your computer, get on your laptop, and think of a subject and just write and read it back to yourself, and you ask yourself, who, what, where, why, and when. The 5 W's. And if you can answer those 5 W's in your blog, then you have ultimately helped every single reader, because you are telling them why you're writing it. You are telling them wherever you were at, you were talking about very specific details. And if you can incorporate all of those details into 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs, then you've provided more information in one blog than people would in a whole TV show in 10 minutes. So like I said, there's Blogger, there's Medium. Medium is a little bit more in depth. I would say if you guys are going to start blogging, then Bloggers are really, if you guys have a Gmail account, I'm not sure if any of you have a Gmail account, but Blogger is free. It's free right in your Gmail account. And you just go into your settings and find the Blogger, which is your, upper left-hand corner, and you can just start typing. And nobody can see it except you unless you share the link. So start building your content. Just maybe, try it out. This is a very simple site. It's already built into your Google, your Gmail account, and you can start seeing your work. And if you're proud of it, then go ahead and find that URL link and then share it to one of your social media platforms and see what kind of engagement you get out of it. But I'll tell you this, for anyone who has any doubt, how will you ever know if you don't blog? How will you ever know if people are going to love what you have to say is if you don't start? So the first step of being a best blogger that you can be is actually making your first and writing your first blog. That should just be your like challenge. I'll challenge you just to writing your first blog. And then you guys can message me your blog from my website. You guys can email me and then share with me your blog, and then I'll be happy to give you some commentary on it. But I would definitely, motivate you to try anything. I put a screenshot of my blogger to show you at the bottom left-hand corner. That's what mine looks like. I post my Tuesday tip videos. I do business and marketing videos every Tuesday. I have filmed 25 episodes to date, and it talks about just different business and marketing tips. But on my podcast is very different. My podcast is about in the studio. It's actually in the studio, and I bring in guests, and got our little earphones on like Jared there. And except I have a microphone right here, but it pretty much looks like that. And so you'll have to do your research, because that's a whole other, this could be a whole other video chat about talking about where you can host your blog. But you can, look, Medium is a way where you can create your own blog site. I think it was Sam who asked me that question earlier, or somebody asked me that question earlier. Well, say like I have on Medium, and I create my blog called Real Talk, because that's what I do. I talk, about real business, real people. And say like people start gravitating to your blog, they really like you. Well, they want to be on your blog. So I'm going to ask Jared, hey, Jared, your site is amazing. I'd really love to be a guest on your blog. Can I post to you? Guess what? Everybody can submit their blogs to you, and you get to approve them. And then all of a sudden you're building up Medium, and you have all these different contributors on your blog spot. And then eventually you might start getting paid for it. So there's some serious opportunities to monetize how you blog. But baby steps, just know that it's out there. It's out there. You can go from literally not knowing how to blog or being scared to blog, and then maybe 4 months from now, you can have 1,000 subscribers, reading all your blogs. Let's see. And
so Melissa,
yeah.
Melissa, you challenged everyone to start, and we have a couple of students who said no. Some have started. Some said they used to.
Okay.
And previously you mentioned a schedule. Now, just starting, you're asking for just one, but how often do you blog? What type of schedule does that look like for you? And then if someone wants to start but runs into writer's block and doesn't know what to write, do you have traditional ways that you try and find inspiration?
So so I was just about to say that. So I'm inspired by the things around me. Okay, that's how I am able to write. And I could read something in the news. For example, if there was something I saw like on social media, and maybe I wrote something prior to that, and then I saw, and I can connect the two. I might go, okay, this makes a great blog because right now it's relative. So I'm going to just write it. For me personally, I don't have a production schedule for blogging because my inspiration comes daily. So if there's something that I'm thinking about right at that moment, I will take 15 minutes and I will write a blog, and I will publish my blog right then and there. I have to block out about a half hour. So by the time that I write it, because not every blog needs contributors, not every blog needs to, because blogging is your opinion as well. It's your personal, insight to whatever topic you're talking about. So it's all up here. I just need to get it on here. So sometimes it'll take me 10, 15 minutes to do it. I post it, I grab the URL link, and I throw it on social media, and I feel good about it. So, but if you have a really chaotic schedule, and there's something that you're currently working on, maybe something at work, or maybe there's maybe you're volunteering for something, you know, maybe you're volunteering for nonprofit organizations, or, you know, you're helping. For example, I helped my mom at her church last Friday, and I took it off, and I made it a point to talk about how I was taking off work, which is very rare for me. But I took off a day in the afternoon to go help the church with some marketing for their gift shop and their online, you know, shop. And then I talked about it, then I filmed it, then I wrote a blog about it, and everyone's like, hey, well, where's this gift shop? So I just did something out of nowhere, documented my whole day, did a little video, used my phone apps to put everything together. I posted it, and then the church just made sales because I talked about it. And that's something that you have to find. Like, you have to dig deep to find the subject topics that are going to be relatable to people. It was relatable to people because, you know, we're all, you know, some of the businesses are struggling, and if anyone wanted to help that gift shop or, you know, support the church, that's what they wanted to do. It wasn't going to matter either way. For those who had started and kind of paused, why did you stop? What was it that stopped you? Was it you weren't getting engagement? Was it because you didn't have time? Because once we can answer those is how we can solve that issue. And if it's you didn't think that you were getting engagement, well, trust me, my followers when I first started was 0. You have to start at 0. But now I have about 100,000 followers on all of my platforms. But I didn't do that if I stopped. Even when I had 3 likes or 4 likes, or I even got questioned, Melissa, why do you put so much work into it? I was like, because I have something to say. I talk a lot. I'm perfect for the media and being a writer because I have everything to say. I want people to hear my voice. And you should always feel confident in your own beliefs and what you feel is important in today's society. And if you believe it, then everyone else will. So don't ever feel like you can't be who you are, because I have been very blessed and acknowledged, and, you know, all the accolades I have received because I have stayed true to exactly who I am as a marketing and media personality and professional in this industry. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think it does. Thank you.
And here's kind of one of the last slides. You know, create thumbnails for yourself. This was a picture I took on a train to the Grand Canyon. The light outside was so gorgeous, it was like white. And by the way, people, I have lived in Arizona my whole life, and I just saw snow for the first time like 2 or 3 years ago. That was the day I saw snow for the first time ever in my life. So that picture meant a lot to me because I still use it even though it's 3 years old. But create thumbnails for yourself, because when you post those thumbnails at different places and you're using those hashtags to correspond to your blog. So if I'm writing about, you know, if I'm writing my blog about ice cream sundaes or hot fudge sundaes, I'm going to come up with about 15 hashtags that are foodie, Sunday foodie, anything that would make sense towards that. And I would use that hashtag towards my blog, because anytime you use a hashtag with your blog and the meta tags, the SEO, you know, the AI, the artificial intelligence of Google will pick up on those hashtags, and they will place you in different categories all over the internet. So you think you're only posting to your blog site, but you're not, because all of Google is pulling those hashtags and pulling those keywords. And before you know it, you're going to be all over these random different sites. Because like Jared and his grandmother's story, I had people reach out to me and said, hey, you just showed up in my email. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, your face is in my email. And I'm thinking, well, how? And then it was a blog that I wrote, you know, like 3 months ago. Somebody just picked it back up because it was, remember when I tell you, it became relevant again because I wrote about that and it was relative. So people are going to media sites, publishers, they're going to look for stuff like that, including me. I look for stuff like that as a media affiliation and as a publisher. So come up with different thumbnails. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can see the different thumbnails that I've used on other things. And that'll kind of give you an idea how to separate your different blogs. So remember when you said, do I have one blog site or do I have multiple blog sites? No, you have one site, but you have thumbnails to each of your topics. Kind of like Instagram. You know how on Instagram you got little categories that you guys can put in your stories? Think of that as the same way of blogging. It's still your account, it's still your brand, but you talk about all these different things. You post different things. See how there's a lot of crossover? I hope that you all know how much crossover there is. So are you guys thinking about right now what you guys could write about? Don't steal my Sunday idea. You guys might be better than me. You guys are young, full of energy. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share here. Do I just push stop share?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Whoa, look at all those people.
So for those who've just joined recently, we have a few people who are talking about that they're thinking of specific topics. And I'd encourage you to come off mute and you can tell us about the topic and Melissa can give some feedback. But also to all those who just joined recently, any questions, please post in the Zoom group chat and Melissa will answer and discuss.
I think there's a question. Do you have any stress relieving meditation techniques that you can suggest for people who have very critical commentators? Oh gosh, dude, that makes me laugh because you know there are going to be some critical commentators. Okay, so for people who may not know, I run a couple of Facebook groups. I have 22,000 people on one group and I have 7,100 on another group. And the topics that people post to the community can be very controversial. I'm trying to think of the best word to say that. And I have to mediate and I have to moderate some of the content that is, you know, posted on these groups. And when you say meditation techniques, you have to test your own patience because you always have to be politically correct in the way that you comment. Because remember when I said before, when other people are also watching what you're doing. I may say I'm a publisher and editor-in-chief of Elevate magazine. I'm just going to use myself for example. And I see your blogs and I'm watching and there's all these comments and then someone goes right at you and says something really negative about whatever your content is. The best way that you can respond to that is say, well, you know, it's not for everyone and I thank you for your feedback. You know, this comes from a personal perspective and you know, I hope that it can resonate with other readers. You know, this might not have been your, you know, your flavor today, but you always have to come back to, because if I was watching you, I would want to know how you can respond to that, because I wouldn't want you to go like, you know, become Darth Vader, you know, on your comments and then just go right at them. You don't want to show them the dark side. Let me just put it that way. You don't want to show them the dark side. You know, you want to be someone who handles that pressure well, because no matter what you're doing today, remember, whatever you post today will be read 3 years from now. Some way, somehow, it'll be out there in the internet. Somebody said, I typed your name in the web browser, Melissa, and do you know you take up the first 5 pages of Google? I'm like, yes, and don't remind me, because there are some pictures on there that I really just don't wish that were on Google. So remember, when you publish, you are published.
But that's a really great question, Melissa, and thanks for that feedback, because especially in today's, there are so many very aggressive blogs and posts, and so thanks, Asan, for that question of how do you stay professional in those.
Or we all us bloggers just need to go to yoga. right? Do some calming, you know. So let me just ask you, I mean, for all the people on here, you know, if you were to write about something, and I just want you to share with me, if you were to write about something right now, you know, what would it be? What inspires you today, right now, and whatever's going on in your life, what would you write about? Just throw it out there for the sake of discussion.
Oh, we've got COVID-19.
That would be a, see, remember I told you those controversial, you know, statements, my journey in data science through, what is MOOCs?
It's online open courses.
Oh, okay. Data
So
science.
yeah,
Okay.
we've got job hunting in the pandemic.
Job
Uh,
hunting. Yes.
Kristen talks about travel and food.
Okay.
Um,
So we've got a traveling foodie. You're in a good industry there. Check out the blogger Arizona Foodie. She's really good. AZFOODIE. Check her out. I love her. Good. So you already know. See, that's your first step of actually knowing some of your other blog, you know, knowing of your other people in your industry. I would say the journey to your data science. Okay, this is a really great topic because what we blog about is our journey. Remember, we're inspired by what we see out there today. And for the one that wants to, you know, write about, you know, the job hunting in the pandemic, what is it about the job hunting right now that you feel needs to be voiced? Is it the frustration because everything is closed down? Is it the, you know, is it the fact that, you know, we are closed as businesses, or is no one hiring? Well, maybe your blog can be about from the other side. You know, maybe you can be the voice of the people, the ones that might be struggling and might be, you know, where, you know, talking to your readers and saying, hey, I'm in the same boat as you, but here's what I found. You know, here are a couple sites that are hiring. You know, you might be the one that has the answers to all of that. So think about ways that your blogs can help other people, because that's what you're writing for. You're writing to be um, a resource for people. You know, for the travel. Remember I told you I just vlogged, you know, going to the church. Well, I would have really preferred to be in Hawaii in that dark cave, you know, filming, but I would have taken you on that journey, and I would have talked about the random sounds that I'm hearing, and you know, that could have turned into a really fun interactive commentary because people are like excited that I'm in some sort of dark cave and, you know, in the middle of Hawaii. Because remember, we're supposed to be relating to the people who are reading it. Evolution of electronics, that's a really good subject because right now, electronics, I mean, you know, geez, can I just be like Elon Musk's like best friend ever, like in his whole like world? Um, you know, the one about COVID-19, if you guys have Netflix, watch the show Mars, Mars, because that show was filmed 3 years ago, and in season 2 they talk about, interviewed like NASA, and they interviewed these industry thought leaders in the real world about climate change and about diseases and everything, and this whole thing that was filmed 3 years ago. And they said, you know, one day that might happen to the people in America. One day we might come out with this virus that just attacks the entire country. And guess what? It's happening right now today. And that show was filmed 3 years ago. So take a look at it. That might inspire you. Actually, that might be a really great blog. You can talk about something that was talked about 3 years ago in a Netflix show, and it's happening today. See, you guys have these ideas. I mean, just these 5 evolution of electronics, you know, the journey into data science, you know, job hunting in the pandemic, the travel, the food, the COVID. These are all really great relative topics. And remember, you always have to remember somebody else has the same thoughts as you. And if you're putting out that content, they're going to relate to it and they're going to comment to it. And they're going to be like, oh man, you know, you guys are great. I really loved what you said. Thank you so much. And then it's your opportunity to say, hey, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, or follow me somewhere else. Because remember, the more people that you have following you, the more readership that you gain. The more readership that you gain is the more opportunities you have as a blogger.
Hi, Melissa. May I ask a very quick question?
Of course.
So when I was taking one class about entrepreneurship, our professors told us to create a blog. And I actually found a couple of my coder friends who hacked the system to increase my follower or number of my followers. And like, instead of starting from 0, as you mentioned during this meeting, I was able to start from 10 or 20,000. But when I told that to my professor, he said, well, these are all just numbers and figures. It doesn't really reflect who you are, and it may even negatively impact your blog, because when your bloggers see who's following you, they may see fake profiles. So I'm curious, is it very important to start from 0 followers, or would it be beneficial to have a jump start?
That could go either way. I mean, I would say, you know, if you're gonna gain followers from somebody else, like somebody else included you and you had, 10, immediate followers, you didn't really gain their attention, did you? I mean, this was kind of through like the bots of the social, network, or were these real
It was through Instagram, just to boost my followers, because when I was looking at the influencers, I did realize they had variety of number of followers, and that's what attracted some other people to take a look at their account, just because, oh, they're following 50 people, but 10,000 people are following them. So it must be something important, like just to give the illusion of my words being important.
Well, Instagram is a really interesting thing because people buy followers on Instagram. We know that there are, companies out there that, international companies that will go ahead and, you spend $40 on 1,000 followers. But what good will that do for you? Because they're going to eventually fall off. Those followers don't stay on there. What those instantaneous, paid followers do is give you the numbers. And then what people do is they see that you have 1,000 followers. So they start following you. They're like, oh, wow, he's got 1,000 followers. I'm going to follow. Well, guess what happened to those paid followers? The ones that are maybe the fake followers, the ones that are really not engaging in your work. What's going to happen is that 1,000 is becoming 800. It's going to become 700 because they slowly follow up because they're bots. They're not real people. They don't stay on there. So as you're gaining, and you'll realize, well, heck, I was started at 1,500 followers, and I know that people are following me, but how did I slip to 800? It's because fake followers will not stay on your platforms. But you have to know that this is something people will do. They will go to your followers and they'll check out your profiles, the people who are following you, to check the validity of your following and to your readership. So it's really important to gain those organic followers because, when you're on Instagram and you use the hashtags, remember I was telling you it all correlates to your images and your thumbnails. This will be this is a blog. I'm writing a blog right now as I'm talking to you. I'm telling you, hashtags do not mean write 40 hashtags on an Instagram post. The most that you should ever write in an Instagram post is maybe about 15 hashtags. Other than that, you're trying to social climb based on other people's hashtags, and you're trying to get in their feeds genuinely. You want to reach the people that make sense for that particular post, if that makes sense to you. So if I'm writing about, foodie and travel, I'm going to come up with 15 fun travel, not Instagood, not Instagram. Don't use those. because a billion other people use those. You want to use the ones that say, you know, seafoody, because they like seafood. Okay, I just made that up, by the way. That's how good I am, seafoody. So, you know, just come up with, you know, come up with your, I would say just for me personally, I like organic followers. I'd rather start with 0 to 1 and 1 to 10 than have 10 followers that may not even be interested in my work or not even engaging the appropriate way for me, because that doesn't help me and that doesn't bring value to me as a writer.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you for asking.
And thank you everyone for participating. I'm cognizant of time and just want to wrap up here at the end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post my email address in the chat, and we would encourage anybody who posts or who has a blog post or who tries and takes Melissa's challenge to post, please send me a link and I will share that with Melissa, and we will be your first followers and see what you're writing.
And you might even just get published.
Thank you so much, Melissa, again for joining us. At the beginning of June, Melissa visited us and shared a Build Your Brand presentation as well. So we are very lucky to have Melissa with us. Just for information, anybody who wants to attend the next Make It Happen session is Friday, July 17th. And the title is Be Resourceful. You've got a lot of resources. Eric was on this call, but he has stepped off, I believe, but it's with ASU's entrepreneurship librarian talking about all the resources at ASU around entrepreneurship. So thank you all. And please, if you have any questions, send them to my email. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, everybody. Make it a great day.